Hey, what's up, y'all? Here we are back with episode 4 of Mashups. We're still working on the B&RMC. This episode, we are finishing up the supports. I make a skybox, and we start doing a little bit of terraforming and playing with colors. So stick around and see what's up. So, like I said, first up, we are working on supports. I actually thought this was going to take a lot longer than it turned out taking. I wasn't planning on doing anything too fancy anyway. I wasn't going to do all the sort of iron structure that RMC typically puts around their inversions and so forth when they're really high up. I like the way those look, but I just am not going to do all that for this ride. It's just too much to do, and I'm not really a big support dude anyway. So basically all this really was lowering some ledgers and getting rid of the mess that is created when you use the wooden support generator for any kind of inversion. And that turned out to be fairly simple, though in some parts, particularly where I was within the structure, it was definitely more difficult. What really took a lot of time was each time that I had to refreeze the coaster, it took roughly 1 minute and 30 seconds to build the support. So I have a pretty powerful computer. I can run basically anything and usually get really good frame rates in even Planet Coaster or on this ride, for example. I'm still getting over 100 frames a second when I actually run it, but still, when you are working with this many supports, I mean, this is absolutely a massive ride, over 300 feet tall. It's a lot of support nodes for the computer to generate and work with, so it was taking quite a bit of time just to freeze and unfreeze the ride to get all this done. So I was doing as much as possible. So the supports, with all that being said, the supports are not 100% perfect, but in terms of where they connect and all that kind of thing, but it's good enough. I mean, it's there. It gives the illusion that you're being supported, and that's all I'm really concerned about. And after all, this is not really a realistic coaster, so I don't think we have to worry too much about whether or not it looks 100% realistic. One thing I did notice, though, was that I think the Codemaster did a live YouTube about working on an RMC support generator, which would be really helpful. He seems to be a really talented guy, so kudos to him for creating so much content for folks to use. I know he's created RMC trains, I believe, and he's done tutorials on how to do the supports and so forth, so he does definitely create a lot of content for people to use. So I'm excited to see what that support generator looks like. I'm also excited for, of course, the NoLimits 2 crew to come out with an RMC generator at some point. I assume they're working on that, but I don't know for 100%. But we'll see what happens. So, with all that being said, one thing I should bring up here, well, first you can see that we're just coming around the ride, finishing up the supports all the way around. We've got the final wave turn to do, and then we've got some supports in the final helix, and then I start working on off screen. I do a really quick skybox. Basically all I did was find a 360 degree panoramic image that I was looking, basically the sort of background that I was looking for, and I converted it to a skybox. Unfortunately, I said in the last video that I really wanted to do a sort of a huge B&M standing on a prairie. That's always been a vision that I've had. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a good image for that, and I didn't really want to create one. So I ended up using something that basically looks sort of out in the desert and so forth. So in the next episode, I'll probably do something very quick with landscaping. Those of you who have been watching for a while know that sometimes I go really in detail with landscaping, and certainly that's one of my strong suits. But in this instance, I don't think I'm going to do all that. Maybe around the coaster a little bit, I'll put a little more effort into it, but I'm probably just going to do a sort of copy and paste job of some scrub brush and so forth, and you'll see that in just a second. And when we do the beauty shots at the end, you'll see the landscape that I'm talking about. Looks pretty good, actually. I could probably fix the skybox up just a little bit more to remove a few tiny little flaws somewhere here and there in them, but I think it looks all right for now. So I was supposed to be at Six Flags, Fiesta, Texas, and San Antonio and SeaWorld and ZDTs this weekend. Unfortunately, that trip got canceled. My coaster buddy wasn't feeling very well, and my ticket is refundable or it can be used on another flight. So we just decided to go ahead and cancel that trip. So this is the second time actually that I've had to cancel that trip, or reschedule it rather. So it seems like maybe that's just not meant to be at this time. So I think the next park I'm going to is Knoebels Grove on roughly April 27th. There is there's an ACE event there for the opening day, so I think I'll go to that just to check it out and see how Knoebels is doing this season so far. Well, that'll be the first day, so I guess they'll see what the opening season's like. So here you can see I started working on the ground. I'd already got the skybox up and running, and at this point I was just trying to get the sort of a terrain that would match the color and the texture of the background. So this took quite a bit of trying here. Finally I settled on something that was fairly decent, and then I started fooling around with the colors a bit, which you'll actually see in the glamour shots that we're going to do here in a minute. I fooled around with the colors a bit just to see what color I wanted this ride to be, and since I just came from riding the Cyclone, I decided to go with white because that was a really attractive coaster. But otherwise, that's going to be about it for this episode. Like I said, we'll finish up the terrain the next time, and then we'll probably be ready for a POV. So be sure to stay tuned for that. Otherwise, I will talk to you next time. Take care and enjoy the ride.